Hi Rabia. I'm not sure what's going on with the live. It just keeps dropping. Um, so let's see if it works this time. Let me know if you can hear me. That would be great. So we can get this live session started. Let's wait for a few more minutes. Hi Rabia. Where you from? Tell me about yourself. Hi. Are you from Pakistan or are you based in outside of Pakistan? Oh, really? We need to connect. Maybe I will connect with you after this chat, this live session. If you're in Melbourne, I'm in Melbourne. We need to connect. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Hi, Madiha. So let's start because I don't want to drag it too long. Today we were actually going to talk about putting boundaries in place without the guilt. Basically बात जहाँ से शुरू हुई है कुछ हफ्ते पहले I was actually talking about how you have to fulfill your plan. Hi Madiha. You have to fulfill the plan that God has written for you in this life. You have to unlock that potential. And in doing so, we actually come closer to faith. We actually come closer to God because that is what these challenges are meant to do in life. अल्लाह ताला ने जो भी आपके लिए एक blueprint बनाया हुआ है उसको अगर आप follow करो और अच्छे सच्चे दिल से करो तो वो आपको अल्लाह की तरफ लेके जाता है. So it's connected with faith. But हम उस concept को like preach नहीं कर पा रहे in Pakistan. It's very much like कि हर especially औरतों के लिए it's always like hi Iman. It's always like, you keep sacrificing, your story doesn't matter, your potential doesn't matter, others matter, but then why? I like, for example, अगर यही मैं story अपने बच्चों को कहूँ कि you matter right now, everyone tells me, right, and every mother is told that you're not important right now, your kids are important. So I'll tell them you're important right now, but 10 years from now you will not be important anymore, or 20 years from now whenever you have kids or when it's actually the time to live your story. So anyways, usme we were talking about how to get on that path क्योंकि अब 30s 40s में आके going on that path can be really hard. So we've been talking about it in the past few weeks and how to get on that path. And what I discussed last week was one of this thing कि आपको boundaries रखनी पड़ेंगी to make that, to protect that space जहाँ पे आप grow कर सको, जहाँ पे आप develop कर सको. And so that is what I wanted to address in this live, setting boundaries without any guilt. I know it sounds as if मैं आपको tips दूंगी असल में which will not make you feel guilty, but actually I'm here to tell you, you will feel guilty. And I wish there was a way जो आप छलांग मार के उस point तक पहुंच जाओ जहाँ पे you will not feel guilty, but that is an impossible task. Because we've never practiced it, the skill, starting में हमेशा guilt feel होगा. Now the question is आप उसको कितना दिल पे ले लेते हो, ठीक है? So उसको आगे जाके डिस्कस करेंगे how guilt can actually be a compass for you. जिस तरह हर emotion आपके अंदर अल्लाह ताला ने जो डाला है supposed to be a compass. उसको आपने दिल पे नहीं सवार करना, ना उसकी anxiety में मर जाना है. It's just more like, okay, let's analyze what's happening here, right? So putting boundaries in place will be very hard when you start off, especially now that you are in your 30s and everyone is used to you not putting in boundaries, right? Raise your hand. Let me know in the comments. Do you put in boundaries? And when you do, people look at you like, have this person gone crazy? Because they're not used to you putting boundaries in place, right? एक धचका सा लगता है लोगों को. So आपको भी शुरू में काफ़ी uncomfortable feel होगा putting in boundaries. Start with very, very little steps, छोटी छोटी बातों पे जहाँ पे आपको लगता है आपको ना कहना है, कहें उसको. और इसको अगर हम साइंसेस में देखें, इसको कहते हैं exposure therapy. So what is exposure therapy? Exposure therapy is basically कि you expose yourself little by little to the thing that you're afraid of. जिस तरह यहाँ पे एलर्जीज बहुत हैं, राइट? देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ पीनट एलर्जी हेयर इन मेलबर्न. तो अब इस तरह की एलर्जीज के लिए भी यही आ रहा है कि आप एक्सपोजर थेरेपी करें, विच इज के maybe just smell the nuts, okay? And aista aista body ko expose kare, maybe just touch it with the finger and lick the finger only, right? And then aista aista se take a very little sniff, then a little bite, and that's how you expose yourself little by little. So aapki tolerance badhti hai. So this is what I would want to tell you, ke at one point in time, maybe 2-3 years from now, if you start today, you might be able to reach a point where you set a boundary without any guilt. Hardly, like maybe 90% guilt चला जाएगा, 10% तब भी रहता है, which is a healthy amount. But when you start, you have to start with exposure therapy, जहाँ पे आप आहिस्ता आहिस्ता से किसी को ना कहना सीखो. Maybe you won't have an answer कि आप ना क्यों कह रहे हो, वो बाद में आप figure out कर सकते हो, which is where your guilt comes in, which is where you're supposed to use that guilt. Hi Maria, thank you for joining. We are talking about how to get into a habit of putting boundaries in place. So I was saying start little by little. Even if you don't have a logic behind it, but दिल में एक बात आपको आवाज़ कोई कुछ कह रही है कि ये नहीं ऐसे होना चाहिए या ऐसे होना चाहिए, so stand by it. Logic को बाद में figure out करते रहेंगे. Keep analyzing whatever boundaries you have in place. And this is जो guilt है आपका. Really? Oh, thank you, Rabia. You're saving me. Thank you. Okay, now you can hear me? Great. Hi, hello, Maria. So, the guilt is where it will help you stay on a good path. तो जब गिल्ट आपके अंदर आए, जिसको मैंने कहा कि आपने सर पे नहीं चढ़ाना उसको, गिल्ट को आपने बस बैठ के उसको एज अ साइन लेना है कि योर ब्रेन एंड योर सोल इज ट्राइंग टू टेल यू समथिंग, राइट? सो जस्ट सिट डाउन कमरे में, just go in a room, shut off from everyone and hear that voice, hear that inner voice, which is what I keep stressing on. You know, you need to connect with that inner voice of yours and see वो guilt originate कहाँ से कर रहा है. Is it something actually that you did wrong? Or is it just कि ओ लोग क्या कहेंगे, ओ माँ पापा क्या कहेंगे, ओ भाई बहन क्या कहेंगे, मियाँ क्या कहेगा, इन-लॉज क्या कहेंगे, लोग क्या कहेंगे, you know? So this is where you will actually start building that connection with your inner voice, which will then become very clear with practice over a time कि okay ये मेरी आवाज़ है, ये दूसरों की आवाज़ है, right? So guilt does play a very strong role in it, but हमने उस guilt को बहुत minimal पे रखना है, उसको सवार नहीं करना हमने. And so it will stop you from going into a place which makes you full of ego, egotistic जिसको कहते हैं. Because some people do put in boundaries in place, but they come from a place of a lot of ego. कि मैंने कह दिया तो बस कह दिया. मुझे याद आ जाता है कौन, अमिताभ बच्चन from कभी खुशी कभी गम, बस कह दिया ना तो कह दिया. And he is not open to listen to anyone. He is putting in boundaries which are not healthy, which are unrealistic, which are again, parampara and all that. So guilt will also help you from going into that bad place. आपको balance करना पड़ता है हर act को, and this is where I think emotions are very good signals placed inside of you by God. अगर हम उनको सर पे सवार ना करें, उनको बस सुने, उनको बस चुप होके अपने दिमाग में उस आवाज़ के अगेंस्ट सुने कि what is that voice saying to you. And with practice, you will hopefully get to a place where your guilt will be at a very minimal. Like now I can say मुझे कुछ साल हो गए हैं इस skill को practice करते हुए, and still there is guilt, I do feel guilty, but it's not something that consumes me. It's a very friendly voice that I'm able to talk to, converse with, have a discussion with, have a debate with. And that is the part your inner voice, your inner emotions should play. इसमें मैं एक बात बस एंड में ये कहूँगी कि there's a way of putting boundaries, like there's a manner of putting in boundaries. What I see people doing is they just go on a rant, and they just lose the point of it. They let their emotions just carry them on, right? वो भी सही नहीं है. इसके अगर मैं एक एग्जांपल दूँ, आपको ना एक दरख्त की तरह खड़े होना है तूफान में, जो बस हल्का सा इधर उधर हिलेगा लेकिन उसकी जड़ें बहुत मजबूत हैं. सो इवन इफ समवन इज काउंटर आर्ग्यूइंग विद यू, ओ तुमने कैसे दिया, तुमने कर कैसे दिया, तुम्हारी जुर्रत कैसे, you don't lose your cool. So that is another skill that you have to learn while learning the skill of putting in boundaries in place. Because when you join these two, the skill of putting in healthy boundaries plus that steadiness, that control over your emotion, that whatever you say cannot sway me, cannot make me explode with anger. I am very much control of my mind and my words and my emotions. And if you have that very calm demeanor while taking everything the other person is saying, and end में well kind of हो जाएगा कि मैंने एक ही एग्जांपल दोनों जगह दे दी है, जहाँ पे मैं मीत आपको ईगोटिस्टिक और गलत वाली बाउंड्रीज प्लेस करने पे कह रही हूँ. मैं उसको एक बात पे अप्रिशिएट भी करूंगी, यू नो, the kind of demeanor with which he says, कह दिया ना, बस कह दिया. He doesn't lose his cool. I read somewhere that be polite and stay firm. Like you keep repeating the same sentence if your boundaries are crossed. Yes, you don't even need to repeat the same sentence. You just say, that's my decision. Thank you very much. That's all I can do for you. You don't need to just listen. So like just listen to what the other person is saying and एक कान से सुनो दूसरे से निकालो, because you need to realize कि whatever the other person is saying is not serving me in any way possible. So there is no point of listening to it. हाँ, अगर कोई लॉजिक वाली बात हो रही है, कोई डिस्कशन हो रही है जहाँ पे दे आर गिविंग यू समथिंग वैल्यूबल, देन डू लिसन. बट वंस यू एनालाइज कि ओके इस बात का कोई तुक नहीं है, इस बात में कोई लॉजिक नहीं है, एक कान से सुनो दूसरे से निकालो एंड put in your boundaries with steadiness, with calmness. वो एक होता है कि क्या कहेंगे इसके लिए एक वर्ड, strength. Put your boundaries in place with composure and strength. At the same time, you need to have composure, and at the same time, you need to have strength to be able to take what the other person is saying. So I think starting from today, just do something in your life that is a small boundary you putting in place that you've never placed before but you think you should, and aista build upon it. I will be doing live sessions every week. You can come back on live, tell me how your experience was, what you did that week that put a certain boundary in place and what you felt. Always discuss your emotions, always discuss what your inner voice was saying, what that inner fight was, and it will help you become more clear the more we discuss our inner voice. So I think I'll stop here for today. आज का न्यूज़लेटर जाना था आज, but I'll do it tomorrow. It's just been moving around the schedule because yesterday I was supposed to come live yesterday, but I had to go somewhere last minute and I couldn't make it. आज भी live almost नहीं होने वाला था क्योंकि my husband is not home and my daughter fell and she hit her chin very badly. She was crying like anything and I thought, oh my god, live आज भी नहीं होगा. But then वो उसी में रोते रोते सो गई and she went to bed. So I made it in time. Newsletter I will put together tomorrow. If you have any questions regarding the live today, let me know. You can add a comment below and I can talk about it. Or also you can inbox me. So maybe I'll discuss your question. Sorry to hear. Hope she feels. Oh, thank you, Rabia, so much. That's that's the thing with kids. वो इतनी चोटें खाते हैं कि वो kind of आदत सी भी हो जाती है. But thank you so much. Yeah, she'll be fine. Just a little scratch, nothing major. So if you have any questions, you can also pop into my inbox anytime. I'm always available. Rabia, if you want to subscribe to my newsletter, send me your email in the inbox. DM karo, idhar nahi. DM pe bhejo and you can receive my newsletter starting from tomorrow. But if you want my previous, I think 3 newsletters or 4 or 5, around 4 or 5 newsletters, let me know and I can forward you a copy of it so you understand the thread of where this started from, how the conversation is going, or step by step अगर समझो तो ज़्यादा समझ आती है, how this is connected to finding faith and finding yourself. So that would be very good. I think 20 minutes ho gaye, although I did start a bit late. But thank you so much for joining. Rabia, I really enjoyed your commenting and being so interactive in the live session. I really appreciate it. Do stay in touch through the DMs. I always love talking to anyone who's in my DM, and I'm always so much on ears. People are sharing their deep stories with me, and I'm always there to listen. So thank you for joining. I'll put this live session on YouTube next week, and the rest of the YouTube live sessions from previous weeks, you can check the YouTube link in the bio. Head to my YouTube channel. अभी 2 ही डाली, I think तीसरी last week ही नहीं डाली, तो वो भी डल जाएगी hopefully by tomorrow, and then go build up the conversation through my previous live sessions, and see you guys next week. Thank you so much for joining. It was a pleasure. Bye.